Okay, I hope everybody is able to see the screen, right? Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashlalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Jayapataka Swaminiti Namne. Namo Acharya Padaya Nitaya Bhaktadayana Gauragatha Dhamadhaya Nagarvantayana. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namne. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Picharine Nirvishesha Shunyadi Pasya Gadishkarine. श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासुदेव भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे. So today we will take the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. I'll take the full screen. Okay. So in 7th chapter, first slok, Lord Krishna says, Maya sakta manaha partha yogam yunjan madashrayah. That is, Krishna is saying that you be attached to me because your attachment towards me will be the yoga. Yogam yunjan madashraya. And yesterday we saw in the 9th chapter, last slok, what Krishna is saying? Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Manmana. Manmana means always think of me, become my devotee, pay your obeisances to me and worship me. Now, for worshipping Krishna, we must understand how great he is. Because once we understand that a particular person is very great, then we develop some respect towards that person. And out of respect, we can even worship that person. So let's start. So as I said, Krishna has described devotional service throughout the 9th chapter, of which the last shlok was 9.34, which I just now recited. Now he describes his opulences to help his devotee achieve devotion, right? So the greatness of Krishna, the opulence, the many things which Krishna possesses, because of which we develop that love towards him, that devotion towards him, that is explained in this chapter, and Krishna himself is explaining. Verses 1 to 7, Krishna describes the glories of his mystic power and opulences. Actually, his greatness will come to know right from 10.2 shlok. 10.2 shlok number itself, his greatness will come to know. We will see that. Now, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the source of everything, full and 6 opulences. What are those 6 opulences? Our scriptures say, Parashara Muni, who is the father of Srila Vyasadeva, who has written the Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas 5,000 years ago, he is describing Krishna through 6 opulences like this. Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yashashasriya, Jnana, Vairagya. So these 6 opulences of Krishna are there. I will tell you. Fame, wealth, beauty, strength, knowledge, renunciation. These 6 opulences are there. A person having these 6 opulences is called as Bhagwan, Bhaga. Opulences, these opulences, 6 opulences are Bhaga. And the person possessing these opulences is called Van. So, Bhaga Van iti Bhagavan. This is the definition of Bhagwan. Now, Krishna is helping his dear friend Arjuna get more devotion through this chapter. Chapter 7 and 9 described his energies, now his opulences. 9th chapter was the most confidential knowledge. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam. 9.2 Shlok Bhagavad Gita. So, one who is anxious for Krishna consciousness should hear in the association of devotees. So, this is now very important. Krishna is not understood through scholarship or through mental speculation or even through scientific research or through experiments, because our senses are not perfect. For example, we cannot see our own eyelids, neither can we see in the dark. So when we have such imperfections, so how can we perceive God through our senses? That's why Shastra Chakshushaha, we should see God through the vision of scriptures. So Bhagavad Gita 10.2 I will recite for you. Name viduh suraganaha prabhavam na maharshayah aham adirhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. Krishna is saying, neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. So just see the greatness of Krishna. Krishna is saying that even the demigods, they have emerged from him. He's saying, Aham Adirhi Devanam. Means the Devatas, they have also come from him. They are actually many, the Devatas actually, the Devatas are actually various managers and directors in the universal government of God. So Krishna is above them. So many 33 million devatas are there, demigods are there. All of them are assisting Krishna. So Krishna is saying, I am the source of them. So Krishna mercifully descends to give knowledge about Bhagavad Gita and Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam. Paritranaya sadhunam. Paritranaya sadhunam means to protect the pious and to annihilate the miscreants. Actually, for annihilating the miscreants, Krishna need not come, because his various energies, they are very, very capable of killing the unwanted people. Whenever the earth is overburdened with unwanted population, then we have famine, we have epidemics, we have earthquakes, we have too much rainfall, we have overflooding of the rivers, and epidemics, volcano, eruption, and so on. So many things are there. So, just one second. Devi, darwaja band karna. So, Krishna mercifully descends. Yet people think that impersonal Brahman is supreme. God is a person. God can create hundreds and thousands of planets. All of them can float on in the sky, in the space. We, on the other hand, because we are part and parcels of Krishna, we have some minute quantity, some minute quality, quantity. Quality wise, we are the same as Krishna, but quantity wise, we are very minute. For example, the scientists are successful in floating the satellites, but they cannot float one entire planet. But Krishna can do that. Not just one, hundreds and millions and thousands, unlimited. That is called God. So some people think that God is, impersonal. But even if the light is there, some people think that God does not have a form. But how is it that the light is coming? The light has some source. Just like this tube light is there, you are seeing that light is being cast upon me. That's why you are able to see me. But this light also has a source. Similarly, if the Brahman effulgence is there, that light is there, then that light also has some source. That source is coming from God, Krishna. Krishna is understood only through devotion. Yeah. So Krishna is understood only through devotion and by his mercy and the mercy of his devotees. Understanding God is not so easy thing. At the same time, it is not very difficult also. We just have to surrender to Krishna and then be in association of devotees. Then God is easy to understand. Next slide will go. So Krishna is unborn and is different from the Devatas and the sages. Just now we saw this shloka that God, one shloka is there. Okay, 4.6 I think of Bhagavad Gita. Ajopi sanyavyayatma bhutanamishwaropi san. Ajopi. Aja. God is unborn. Right? So Krishna is unborn and different from the Devatas and sages. So many great sages are there. We have the Sapta Rishis, we have very, very great and exalted devotees of Krishna, and the Devatas also. So in fifth chapter, last slok we saw, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram means supreme proprietor of all planets. So realizing this truth makes us undeluded, means not confused. Deluded means like you are confused and something speculating and all. Undeluded and sinless. This is written in Bhagavad Gita 10.3. He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme lord of all the worlds, he only, undeluded among men, is freed from all sins. That is, without a doubt. When he knows, then he becomes freed from sins. Mame Vaishyasya Samshayah. He says, now only acting under sadhu, shastra and guru makes everything truly auspicious in this material world. Why? Because sadhu, shastra and guru, they make everything easier for you to understand. And not only this, all the three of them will tally with each other. Guru is that person who will connect you to Krishna. And sadhu is that person who is a very great devotee of Lord Krishna. And Shastra, these are our scriptures, they will give us information about Krishna. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, all the three of them will give information. And all the three of them, all the information will match one another. So this is how beautiful our Vedic system is. Next we'll go. Good and bad qualities are created by Krishna. I think this is the next verse. Okay, 10.45. Created by Krishna. See, good is also there, bad is also there. But the creator has created intelligence. This duality is there only in this material world. In spiritual world, as you saw in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which Her Grace Vinodavani Mataji had taken, Parastatsmattu bhav anyo vyakta vyaktat sanatanaha. Sanatana world, the eternal world, the spiritual world, there these dualities are not there. There only, everything is only good, no bad. Everything is absolute. So, these qualities are created by Krishna: intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt, forgiveness, truthfulness. See, these are all good qualities. When we have these qualities, see, some more are the control of the senses, because when your senses are controlled, your mind will be controlled. And when your mind will be controlled, many things, in many ways it will help. It will help you in your anger control. It will help you in your stress management. We are talking about stress management, but stress management, Krishna is talking about stress management here. Through the yoga chapter, 6th chapter, which we saw, right? Then happiness and distress. So these good qualities, when we say that a particular person has these qualities, then that person is good, we say, right? So these qualities, who has created these qualities? How these qualities have come into existence? Yes, because they are created by God, Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Birth and death. We are born and then daily, yearly, our age increases, we grow, and then we become old, and then finally we die. So this birth and death is also created by Krishna. Non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, all these qualities are created by Krishna. I think these qualities are just very straightforward. Okay, fame and infamy. A person is famous, a person becomes, or a particular person becomes infamous. All good qualities are acquired through Krishna consciousness. Even Srimad Bhagavatam, Shlok 5.18.12, it says that a Krishna conscious person or a devotee of Lord Krishna, he develops all the qualities of a Devata, demigods. Just imagine those Devatas for in whose temples we go and pray, we get their qualities if we become devotee of Lord Krishna. Krishna creates them for the devotee, and the devotee develops them from within. Okay. So this next shlok is 10.5. महर्षयः सप्त पूर्वे चत्वारो मानवस्तथा मद्भावा मानसा जाता येषां लोक इमः प्रजः. Krishna is the source of all good things, absence of good and evil. Okay, the slok which I just now recited, sorry, that was 10.6. Huh. Okay, it talks about these qualities only. Krishna is the source of all good things, absence of good is evil. So the evil is coming because of absence of good things. So from Krishna, Brahma is born, and from Brahma, Kumaras are born. 4 Sanat Kumaras are there. And from Brahma, Rudra is also born. From Brahma, the Sapta Rishis are also born. And from Brahma, Manus are also born, the patriarchs of this universe, the progenitors of mankind. And they are born. See, these Manus are also born from me. Krishna is saying 10.6 shlok, the shlok which I recited just now. And all the living beings populating in the various planets, they are descending from them. So this, just see, this is not a very direct creation, but first Krishna is creating the Manus, and the Manus, they are doing the work of populating this universe. So in one way, indirectly, Krishna is creating them. But directly speaking, all of us are parts and parcels of Lord Krishna. All of us are spirit souls. All living entities from all over the universe descend from these patriarchs. So Brahma is the Pitamaha, grandfather, and Krishna is the Prapti Maha, that is great grandfather. So one who is convinced of Krishna's opulence and mystic power engages in his devotional service. 10.7 shlok. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service. Unalloyed means pure. Of this, there is no doubt. Natra samshayah. Just see. Now comes the next shlok, 10.8. That is very interesting shlok, I'll tell you. Before that, though inconceivable and unapproachable, yet Krishna can be bound by ropes of love. God is Adokshaja. Adokshaja means that person who cannot be easily perceived by your senses, but he can be understood by chanting his holy names, particularly the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. When you chant and hear his holy names, then you get the intelligence of understanding Lord Krishna. We get the intelligence of understanding Bhagavad Gita. That is why we must chant Hare Krishna and we must read Bhagavad Gita regularly, so that day by day you will realize Krishna more and more. And yet Krishna can be bound by ropes of love. If we love Krishna, then Krishna, out of his love towards us, he can come under our control. That is how his Damodar Leela happens, in which Mother Yashoda, she is binding the little Krishna on a mortar with ropes. Otherwise, God cannot be controlled. God is Ajita. Some of the people have the name as Ajita, right? Actually, that is the name of Krishna, unconquerable one. So yes, I would like to recite. This is one of my favorite shloks in Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitah. So the meaning is given on the screen. I am the source of all spiritual and material world. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Now 10.8, 10.9, 10 and 11. These four are Chatur Shloki, shloks of Bhagavad Gita. Yes. The essence of Bhagavad Gita is in these four verses number 8 to 11. Why Chatur Shloki? Because the essence of the entire Bhagavad Gita, the summary, what Bhagavad Gita is telling, is present in these four verses. We will see those verses one by one. All of Krishna's opulences are summarized in verse 8. See, Aham Sarvasya Prabho. What is Krishna saying? Aham sarvasya prabhu. I am the source of both material and spiritual worlds. In 8th chapter we saw that material world is ashashvat, that is, it is destructible, it is temporary, but the spiritual world is the shashvata or sanatana. So Krishna is saying that he is the source of both material world as well as spiritual worlds. And Krishna is saying everything emanates from me. Even the universe in which we are staying now, in this big universe, in one of the planets called Earth, we are in one of the countries called as India. Within that, in one of the cities called as Bangalore, one of the places in Bangalore, I am sitting and all you people are sitting. So, you know who has created it? Krishna has created it. Because Krishna is saying everything is coming from me. Now, what else is required to be known? So the wise, that's why Krishna is saying, the wise who perfectly know this, engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So devotees develop love for Krishna and engage in his devotional service. Devotees are always relishing discussions about him. This is the next shloka actually. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So devotees cannot maintain their lives without him. So much love they have for God, so much love they have for Krishna, that they always think about Krishna all the time. And that is what Krishna wants. Man mana bhava mada bhakto. Man mana means always think of me. Now, if you want to think of Krishna, first we should know how great he is, how his opulences are. We should know his absolute knowledge also, the knowledge which we saw in 7th chapter and even in 4th chapter, transcendental knowledge. Then Krishna reciprocates by enlightening them from within their hearts. Such devotees who are thinking of Krishna 24 hours a day, Krishna enlightens them. And it's not that we have to give up our occupation, our studies, our family, our relatives, anything for understanding Krishna or for doing bhakti towards Krishna or for loving Krishna. No. Stay where you are, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. Just chant Hare Krishna. You can do it practically. So, these Chatushloki verses of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is the source of all material and spiritual worlds. This we saw 10.8. The wise engage in devotional service with all their hearts. Pure devotees always think of and serve Krishna, relish discussions about him. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Kaya, Lavamatra Sadhu Sange, Sarva Siddhihaya. Association of great saintly devotees is very much essential, because even a small amount of time spent with them gives us a lot of perfection. The verdict of all revealed scriptures is that even by a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can attain all success. Then, one more very important verse. Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. Krishna is saying here, verse 10.10. What he is saying? To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Dadami means I give. Buddhi yogam tam. Buddhi yoga means the intelligence with which they can come to me, with which they can finish their current life and they can come to back to my planet. So see, if we are devoted to him, see, love works both ways. As I said in one of my earlier, I think chapter 6 session, that if we love God, God also loves us. And we can feel that. So now we'll go to next slide. Destroys their ignorance with lamp of knowledge. Yes, this is the next slok. To show that special mercy, Tesha mevanukampartham aham ajnanajam tamaha Nashayamyatmabhavastho jnanadipena bhasvata. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling within their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born out of ignorance. So, darkness born out of ignorance. That is, through their knowledge, the shining lamp of knowledge is the knowledge of the spiritual knowledge, um, which Krishna reveals us in our hearts if we are devoted to Him. So purity is the force and books are the basis. That is, if we do as the scriptures say, like certain rules and regulations, if we follow, then we can understand Krishna quickly. And if we chant Hare Krishna, then easily we will understand Lord Krishna. And books are the basis. Our scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, so many books Srila Vyasdeva has written. With the help of these books, we can understand God, and that knowledge will help in the realization of God. So next slide will go. Okay. Now, 3 steps to progress. This is also part of Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita only. Sambandha means awareness. Awareness means to know one's relationship with Krishna and the universe, and the source of knowledge is Bhagavad Gita 10.10 and destroys all impediments. Krishna himself helps in destroying all the impediments. Abhideya means apply this knowledge in day-to-day life and practice regularly. Devotees surrender to Krishna. Just now we saw 10.8. The shlok we saw. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service. So life fully devoted to my service. Now, prayojana means goal. Abhideya is the process of attaining, and prayojana is the goal. So we become knowledgeable by Krishna's mercy, Bhagavad Gita 10.10, and we are protected by the special mercy of Krishna because Krishna gives us the light of knowledge. And the devotees of the Supreme Lord, because Krishna is absolute and Krishna himself is very blissful, discussing about Lord Krishna also gives us bliss. That is the absolute nature about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. There is no difference between his pastimes, between his holy name, between his personal form, between his paraphernalia through which we worship him, and so on, because it has the absolute nature. So now we'll move ahead. After this 4th shloki Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is, appreciating Lord Krishna. What does he say? Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Devyam Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum. So we'll understand this. After hearing Chatur Shloki, all of Arjuna's doubts were cleared, and he accepts Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he expresses his eagerness to hear more of his glories. Now, what Krishna said in these within this first 11 shloks was, at an even larger level it was. So, to understand, to think of Krishna all the time, some more specific people or objects, if you are able to meditate, then we can always think of Krishna. So that's why Arjuna wanted to know Krishna more. In response, expresses his eagerness to hear more of his glories. In response, Krishna describes the prominent opulences amongst his limitless ones. God is unlimited, therefore his opulence is also unlimited. See? So out of those unlimited opulences, the prominent ones, the famous ones, Krishna is going to describe now. Arjuna accepts Krishna as okay. Quotes also the previous acharyas. Who are they? The previous acharyas? Okay. The previous acharyas are, here they are written. Narada, Narad Muni, Asita, Devala, and Vyasdeva. They confirm this about what Arjuna is saying. Arjuna is saying, what did Arjuna say? The shloka which I recited just now. Param Brahma and Param Dhama. You are the supreme Brahman. You are the supreme personality of Godhead, that is. The ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. Absolute means complete truth. He even saw in 7th chapter. One shlok, 7.7 it is. He says, there is no truth superior to me. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person. Purushaha Shashvatam Devyam. Devyam means transcendental. The unborn. Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum. And the greatest. So neither the Devatas or Asuras, they know about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Shlok 10.12 and 10.13 and 14. 10.14 says, O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. Vidur Deva Nadanavaha is the ending part, 10.14 stroke. And only Krishna, the origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, and Lord of the universe. Yes, this is also one of my favorite shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. Swayam evatmanatmanam vethatvam purushottama bhuta bhavana bhutesha deva deva jagatpate. Means what? Swayam evatmanatmanam. Swayam eva. Certainly, you know yourself. Evatmanatmanam. Atmanam means only you know yourself by your own internal potency. As you can see here in the picture, Krishna is saying to Arjuna, he is saying, only you know yourself by your own internal potency, because God is unlimited. Who can understand him? And then he is praising Krishna. He is saying, O Supreme Person, Bhuta Bhavana Bhutesha, Vethatvam Purushottama. Before that, Vethatvam Purushottama. Purushottama means Purusha Uttama. The Supreme Person, Purusha, the enjoyer, the origin of all. Bhuta Bhavana Bhutesha, the origin of all. And Deva Deva Jagatpate, you are the Lord of Lords. And Jagatpate, Jagatpate means Lord of the universe, Master of the universe. Jagannath is called as Master of the universe. So Arjuna is requesting Krishna to detail his opulences. And yeah, so that it will be easier for him to meditate on physical things, because we cannot meditate on the entire universe because we have not seen the universe, right? So of course we can see the universe through the eyes of our scriptures, but it becomes difficult to meditate actually. But instead of concentrating or meditating on the universe, we can meditate on the things, objects, or people or persons on whom we can meditate, as described by Lord Krishna, so that we think more of the Lord and others and less of ourselves. That is true compassion. When we want to do good to others, we need to have compassion, right? And compassion is the quality of a devotee, because a devotee sees everyone as souls. He does not see everyone as bodies. For example, we saw in 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Panditaha Samadarshinaha, a very learned person, devotee of the Lord, he sees with an equal vision a Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater, because he sees them at a spiritual level. At spiritual level, everyone is spiritual. So that is how he gets the compassion. Even if a dog, he is injured, he feels that compassion. He is not saying, he's a dog, I don't care. He's not a human being. Oh, if human being is injured, okay, I'll take care. But I will see. But if dog is injured, I don't care. No, he sees everyone with an equal vision. So Arjuna is now greedy to know more and more of his opulences, to taste the nectar. We are 10.18 every time we have Bhagavad Gita. Oh Janardana, again please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you. See, this is the real nature of God. The more you hear about God, you will feel the nectar coming through your ears. Okay. God, it's not that God is boring. No. God is so interesting that the interest will never end. That is called as the unlimited, the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna. For the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. Okay, so now it is less than a minute because of Zoom timing restrictions. We'll do one thing now. We will, all of us, please sign out. We will sign in once again and we'll continue from where we left off and we'll try to finish everything on time. Okay. Hare Krishna. Everybody please log in. Okay. So Arjuna is greedy to know about the next nectar. Okay. So Arjuna expression of love makes the experience sweeter for both of them. Okay. Done. Now next slide. So Krishna lists only prominent ones of his limitless opulences. Krishna says that he begins with that I am the super soul of the universe, and every living being. Krishna is present in the hearts of every living being. Sarvasya chaham rudi sanniveshto. Sannivishto means situated. Sarvasya cha aham. Rudi means hridaya, heart. Rudi sannivishto. That is, I am the Paramatma who is staying in the hearts of all living beings. And also, I am the super soul of the universe. This universe is actually Lord Vishnu, the Garbhodakshai Vishnu. He is resting. He is actually staying in this universe. That is why this universe, in this universe, everything is happening on time. All the planets are rotating around their orbits. Then there are days, nights, seasons, everything on time happening. Everything, in a very systematic manner. It cannot be by accident, as some, ignorant people say. They say that, okay, this universe came out of some explosion, some Big Bang theory, they call it, that from nothing, this universe came out. And we also came out from nothing, and this and that, and we came from monkeys and etc. So many things they say. But if we are very logic, if we are using some logic, then we can think that how is it that something can come from nothing? Nothing coming out from nothing. Okay. But how can something come out of nothing? Logic. So, source, maintainer, and end of all living beings. So, Krishna is the source, Krishna is the maintainer, and Krishna is the end of all living beings. That is, in the end also, see, there is birth, there is maintenance, and then there is end of all living beings. That is, end as in end of the bodies of the living entities. So we have to see Krishna everywhere. So here, this images are there. So he is Mahavishnu, and he is breathing through his skin. One second. Okay, and he's breathing through his skin, and because of his breathing, the universes are coming out. And that is God. God can breathe even through his skin. This is the ability of God. We cannot, on the other hand, we require a nose to smell. We require a nose to breathe, actually. Now these are the opulences. Here is where the opulences which Arjuna wants to hear. He is telling one by one to Krishna. Okay. He's saying, among the Vishnu, I am the Vishnu among Adityas. So, Lord Vamandeva, when he came at the time of Bali Maharaja, past time, Vamandeva came as Aditi's Putra, that is, brother of Indradev. Indradev is chief among all the demigods. Then Krishna is saying that I am the sun among the lights. That sun is actually, I am the radiant sun, Krishna is saying. Of lights, I am the radiant sun. And among stars, I am the moon. And I'm Marichi. There are 50 different varieties of wind blowing in space. And these winds are controlled by a devata, Marichi. Sometimes they are even called as Marut Deva, Marichi. Then among Vedas, I am the Samaved. Samaved teaches you how to sing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then among the Devatas, I am the chief Devata, who Indra. This rain department is actually Indradev's department. Then I am the mind among these senses. We have 5 senses. The senses are under the control of mind. Therefore, the mind represents Krishna. See, these are the things on which we can also meditate. Every time we see sun, we can remember Krishna. Krishna says in 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Yadaditya gadam tejo jagat bhasa yate khilam. The light of sun which is coming is actually coming from me. Then Samave, we can meditate on the moon. In 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Ushnami chaushadhiya sarvaha somo bhutvar satmakaha. The food which we eat, actually the taste of that food in that particular foodstuff is brought about by Krishna through moon. So much dependency we have upon Krishna, you see. I am the consciousness in living beings. Now a particular person is a living being or is living or is dead. How do we come to know? We come to know through the presence of consciousness. Just like I am here speaking, I feel hungry, I feel thirsty, I move my limbs, I move my hands and legs. So this is the symptom of consciousness, that I am able to move everything. Like if I leave my body, if my soul leaves this body, then this symptoms of consciousness will not be there. Next slide you go. Now among the Rudras, I am the Shiva. 11 Rudras generated, sorry. Yes, one Rudra generated from the forehead of Lord Brahma. There was a small pastime. And that Rudra in turn generated 10 more Rudras. And out of those Rudras, Lord Shiva is one of them. Among the Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am Kuvera. Here, Lord of Wealth is Kuvera. And I am the Vasus. Vasus are, I'll tell you who the Vasus are. I am the fire. Okay. Vasus, it seems it's not written here. Okay. So, Agni is also one of the Vasus. And we have so many mountains on this planet, right? And we have so many mountains throughout this universe. So, the Meru is one of the mountains, and the Meru mountain that represents Krishna. So Meru is a mountain famed for its rich natural resources. We get a lot of natural resources from mountains. Then we have among the priests Brihaspati, because Brihaspati is the spiritual master, the guru of the Devatas. Then Kartikeya among the generals. Generals means that person who can fight courageously and who can win war. Just like we have chief army generals, right? So they have the experience of fighting in the battlefield. Now, I am the ocean among water bodies, Krishna is saying. Krishna is vast. So every time whenever we go to a seashore and we see the vastness of the ocean, we can remember Krishna. If that ocean is so vast, then how vast Krishna is? We can think like that. Then I'm Om among the vibrations, the transcendental, Vedic hymns. Almost every Vedic mantra begins with an Om, just like Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Then here also one more important is there. I'll tell you. Okay. Japa among all types of sacrifices. Here the exact verse Krishna is saying is Yajnanam Japa Yajnyosmi. That is of sacrifices and the chanting of the holy names. That is Japa. Chanting of the holy name. Particularly the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Here we see the picture of Narada. He's continuously chanting Narayana, Narayana, chanting the holy names of the Lord. That is the best thing. And it is the recommended thing in this age of Kali, where we have very, very less time to read scriptures, but we want to make the proper use of this human form of life by realizing God. So the best way is to chant the holy names of God, particularly the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So daily we conduct early morning japa, starting from 4 a.m. in the morning. So we will post the link in this Bhagavad Gita WhatsApp group. So those of you who are interested can come in early morning group japa chanting, and you can experience it. Your day will go very nice. So then I am Himalayas among the immovable mountains. Immovable things, that is. So mountains are generally immovable, but Himalayas are very vast, huge. And Mount Meru is sometimes movable, but Himalayas are never movable. That's why Himalayas are greater than Mount Meru. Then Krishna says that I am a banyan tree among the trees. So whenever we see a banyan tree, we can think of Krishna. Yes, representative of Krishna, as said in Bhagavad Gita. I am the Narada among sages. Sri Narad Muni, who is the Manas Putra of Lord Brahma. He is one of the devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Of the Gandharvas, I am Chitraratha. Gandharvas actually are those living entities who sing beautifully, especially the glories of Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu. And I am Kapila among perfected beings. We are talking about Kapil Muni here, who Lord Kapila is an incarnation of Lord Krishna. Many years ago he took, and he gave his principles of devotional service, which are recorded in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Next slide will go. Uchishrava among the horses. Now, when there was a Samudra Manthan, that is, when there was churning of the great ocean, which happened in this universe somewhere, there they used the Mount Meru, and the Devatas and the Asuras. Both of them were churning the ocean to get nectar. So before getting nectar, they were getting some other things also, other people also, just like Uchchaishrava. It is one of the horses. Then we even got Airavata among elephants. Airavata is the carrier of Indradeva. Then of lordly elephants, I am Airavata. And among men, I am the monarch. That is, I am the king. I am the great saintly king among kings. Then among the thunderbolts, among the weapons, I am the thunderbolt. As hard as a thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is actually very powerful among so many weapons. Often thunderbolt is very destructive also. For example, if thunderbolt hits somewhere or somebody's house, breaks open, right? So, or if the thunderbolt happened to hit the ground, then it's very hard it is. That's why sometimes they say as hard as a thunderbolt, they say. Then among cows, I am the Surabhi cow. In Krishna Loka, that is the supreme abode of Lord Krishna, there are a lot of cows which can be milked at any time. So these kind of cows are present in Golok Vrindavan because they constantly have love for Lord Krishna. The cows, they are able to give milk at any time because they're constantly are thinking, because they are constantly thinking of Lord Krishna. Then Kandarpa, Cupid, god of love for procreation. So whenever you remember Cupid or Kamdev, we can think about Lord Krishna. Kandarpa. Krishna's beauty is defined like this. Kandarpa koti kamaniya vishesha shobham. Kandarpa koti. So if crores of such beautiful Kamdevs or Cupids, they come together, then that will be the equivalent of beauty of Lord Krishna. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So among the serpents, I am Vasuki. Among the serpents, one-headed, I am the Vasuki. Among the many hooded Nagas, as you can see here, the Nagas here, many snakes, I am Ananta, Ananta Shesh, on which Lord Vishnu is, resting here, as you can see. So every time we see Ananta Shesh, at that time also we can remember Krishna. So Varun Devta among the aquatics. Devtas are there, so many, but this Devta pertains to aquatics. He is the controlling water Devta. That is, he controls the motion of waters, and of course, since he is the god, he is the Devta of that. That water thing is under his control. Water department is under him. Aryama among the ancestors. Aryama is okay. So pitas are there. We have Pitrupaksha, right? We have Pitrupaksha. Actually, it's a planet where our ancestors they go, and the presiding deity of that planet is Aryama, which is the representation of Lord Krishna. Then among the law dispensers, I am Yama. That is, those people who enforce the law. Among them, I am Yama. Yama is the superintendent of that, as you can see in the picture here on the right side. He punishes those people who are sinful. So that Yama, every time we remember Yamaraja, we can think about Lord Krishna. Then I am time among subduers. Because time takes away everything from us. And also, time creates also things. No, it will be like, yes, time among subduers. Like wear and tear also happens, right? It is happening, anything if we take, any material thing if we take, it will be new in the beginning. Then as a period of time, it will undergo wear and tear. And then finally it will get spoiled. Say for example, any vehicle is there or two-wheeler vehicle is there. Now if you purchase it, it will be very nice, new. Yeah, very nice and new. It is running very fast. But as time passes by, due to the wear and tear, due to servicing, due to repairs, it loses its vitality. The vehicle loses, and a point comes where it no longer functions. So we can say that the time has subdued it. So that's why here it is written time among subduers. I am lion among beasts, Lord Narasimhadev, right? He came to kill the atheist Hiranyakashipu. So whenever we think about lion, or whenever we see a picture of lion, or while watching TV, if we suddenly happen to see lion on some of the channels, TV channels in which they show animals only, then you can remember Krishna. Then I'm Garuda among birds. So among birds, whenever you see Garuda, or whenever you see the carrier of Lord Vishnu, we can remember Lord Krishna. That is, whenever we go to Vishnu temple, we always have the deity of Garuda outside the temple. So whenever we see that Garuda, we should remember, yes, carrier of Lord Krishna. That way, we will remember Krishna practically. Now verses 31 to 42. These verses, sorry, yeah. So these verses are like this is the last part of this particular chapter. After naming 82 of the opulences, Krishna summarizes by explaining that these opulences simply indicate his glory. As Paramatma, he pervades and supports the entire universe. We will see that in the shlok, upcoming shlok. So wind, I am the wind among purifiers. Okay, some of the opulences, I think the slides got interchanged somewhere. Okay, I am the wind among purifiers. I am the beginning, middle, and end of all non-sentient creations. I am the spiritual science. Yes, beginning, middle, and end. It is like creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the material qualities of the Supreme Lord. Okay, these are the agents. Okay. Then spiritual science among knowledge, the Adhyatma, this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, that itself is himself. So whenever we think of Bhagavad Gita, we think about Krishna, yes, the speaker of Bhagavad Gita. I am the conclusive truth among logicians. That is, among logicians, there are different kinds of arguments. Supporting one's argument with evidence and also supports the opposing side is called as Jalpa. Merely trying to defeat one's opponent is called as Vitanda, but the actual conclusion is called Vada. This conclusive truth, the Vada, is the representation of Krishna. Then I am the Parshurama among weapon wielders, the one who creates weapons, Lord Parshurama. Whenever we see Lord Parshurama, we can think about Krishna. Then I am the shark among fishes, because shark is very fierce, right? It's one of the biggest and is certainly the most dangerous to man. And among rivers, I'm Ganga, because Ganga originates from the toes of Lord Vishnu. So the origin of Ganga is Krishna. This way we can remember Krishna. See, whenever we see Ganga or somebody talking about Ganga, we can immediately remember Krishna. I am letter A among letters. Yes. I am letter A among letters, because every letter, the first letter of Sanskrit alphabet is Ekara, or the beginning of the Vedic literature. Without Ekara, nothing can be sounded. Therefore, it is the beginning of sound. What Ekara? Okay. Then we have dual compound among compound words. That is, we have compound words, dual words, like two different words, Rama, Krishna. They are called as Dvandva. In this compound, the words Rama and Krishna have the same form, and therefore the compound is called as dual. Then I am the time. As we saw, time subdues everything, right? And among the creators, I am Lord Brahma. And Mrityu Sarvaharaschaham, I am the death. So all those atheists and those philosophers who say that there is no God, they are definitely going to see God as death. They cannot see God directly, so they have to see God in some way. Death is there. Then I am the generating principle of all that is yet to be. All that is yet to come in existence, I am the generating principle. Because of me, that thing is happening. Say, for example, we have memory chip of electronics. Now, those of you who are engineers, they may be knowing it. How is it that, one part of silica, one particle of silica is able to hold on to some information as a bit, either a 0 or a 1? How is that possible? Who has made it possible? Who has created that system that way? If you think, then you will understand that that is the generating principle which Krishna has created. Because I have not created it. It is already there. So if it is there already, somebody has definitely created it. It cannot come into existence through accident. That's not possible. Then fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience among the feminine qualities mentioned in the Sanskrit language. These are the qualities which are considered feminine. If a person possesses all of them or some of them, he becomes glorious. These qualities are there. If a person is having good memory, Shruti, then we say, oh, this person is having good memory. He can understand, he can recollect a lot of answers to questions in a question paper and gets good marks in school. A particular person is intelligent. Wow, he's able to do so many things. Wow, he's so nice. His brain is, he comes up with a lot of ideas. He knows how to manage things. How? Because Krishna is giving the intelligence. That's why whenever we see these things, we can, if a particular person is famous, we can think about Krishna. See how easy it is to think about Krishna. Krishna says, Mana Mana Bhavamad Bhakto, always think of me. This way we can always think about Krishna. Bharat Sama of the Samaveda. This Bharat Sama is a section of Samaveda which can be, which they sing at night, it seems. So that Bharat Sama of the Samaveda is a representation of Lord Krishna. Then among poetry and the Gayatri Mantra. Gayatri Mantra is sung, Gayatri Mantra is recited by those people who are having the Brahmanical qualities. And by reciting this mantra, a person becomes transcendental. That's why only qualified mantras are, only qualified people are given this mantra to recite. Then of the masas, of the months, I am the Margashirsha Margashirsha month. That is November, December, because during this time, the crops come and people are happy that they will get a nice crop during this time. Then spring among the seasons. You must have heard, right? Spring is or autumn season is a very nice season because everything around us, it becomes very nice. Then among cheating, I am the gambling. Cheating is happening. If a cheating is happening, then out of so much types of cheating, gambling is the best cheating. But this does not mean that we can cheat God. God can never be cheated. God can cheat us more than we can cheat him. That is called as God. Everything, each and everything is under his complete control. That is called God. Krishna, Godhead. Victory, splendor, adventure, and strength of the strong. Krishna is saying, I am the victory, I am the splendor. Whenever we see that somebody is winning, we should think of Krishna. Yes, victory. Krishna says, 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Then I am the adventure. The adventure happens because of Krishna. If we see the Krishna Leelas, then it is full of adventure. Right from his childhood till the end. All the Leelas are very, very adventurous. All of us must read the Krishna book which we have. And I am the strength of the strong. Krishna is saying this in Shlok number 36. In 7th chapter also, Krishna said that Kamosmi Bharatarshava Balam Balavatam Chaham Kamaraga Vivarjitam. Bala Balavatam. I am the strength of the strong. So Krishna is repeating that once again, because whenever we see strong man or strong person, or whenever we see that he is able to do a lot of physical work because he is having a lot of strength, who is the source of that strength? Krishna has given him. That is why he is having that strength. That way we can think about Krishna. Then among the Vrishnis, I am Vasudeva. Among the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Among the sages, I am the Vyasa, that is Vyasdeva, who has written the scriptures for Kali Yuga people, that is for us. I am the Shukracharya among thinkers. I am the punishment to suppress lawlessness. Because whenever punishment is there, then people, out of the fear, out of that punishment, they will not do sinful activities or wrong activities. And I am the morality, which is the cause of victory. I am the morality as a cause of victory. Amongst those who are trying to be victorious in some field of activity, the most victorious element is morality. Then I am the silence among secrets, because Among the confidential activities of hearing, thinking, and meditating, silence is the most important because the person can progress quickly spiritually if he is silent, particularly when he engages himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness. So we have 10 more minutes. Okay. Then wisdom among the wise. That is, wise person is that person who can distinguish matter from the spirit. The wise person is that person who knows that I am not this body but the spirit soul, and that this body is temporary in nature. Then this is also one of my favorite shlokas. Yacchapi sarvabhutanam bijam tad ahamarjuna na tadasti vina yatsyan maya bhutam characharam. I am the generating seed of all existences. There is no being, moving or unmoving, that can exist without me. Krishna is saying. Just see, all the things that are moving and non-moving, which we are able to see or which we are able to conceive. Krishna is the origin of that. That's why that thing is there in existence. So then Krishna says, Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam shrimat urjitam va tattada eva vagachatvam mamatejo sambhavam. All that is opulent, beautiful and glorious, spring from just a spark of my splendor. Tiny spark. Anything, any person is beautiful, man or a woman, or any natural nature we see so beautiful, any beautiful rainfall we see somewhere. Take it for granted that it is coming from a spark of Krishna's splendor. So whenever we see these things, we can always think of Krishna. See, it is so easy to think about Krishna. So this is the last shlok. All the things working only due to Paramatma. Athava bahunaitena kim jnatena tava arjuna vishtabhyaham idam krishnam ekamshena sito jagat. Krishna is saying, but what is the need of all this detailed knowledge, my dear Arjuna? Just with a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support the entire universe. The universe is actually supported, the planets are supported. By whom? By Krishna. So that way, we can always think about Krishna. Anything good in us is only a reflection of Krishna, because ultimately, we are parts and parcels of Krishna. So what is the summary of this chapter? Krishna is understood only through devotional service and by his mercy and the mercy of his devotees, not through mode of goodness, scholarship or speculation, or philosophical speculation or experiment. Realizing the truth about Krishna makes us undeluded and sinless. All good qualities acquired through Krishna consciousness, Krishna creates them for the devotee and the devotee develops them from within. One who is convinced of Krishna's opulence and mystic power engages in his devotional service. 10.7 Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita convinces Arjuna to surrender to Krishna, and he glorifies Krishna and wants to hear more of his opulences. Then Krishna gives a sample of his unlimited opulences. How to see Krishna everywhere. All things working only due to Paramatma. The last slok which I recited just now. Anything good in us is only a reflection of Krishna. This Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita 10.8, 9, 10 and 11. So now pastime of Lord Chaitanya. One small pastime of Lord Chaitanya. Quickly I'll finish it. Don't worry, time is up. So as you can see in yellow dhuti, this is Krishna and this is Balram. So they are dancing on the Hare Krishna Mahamantra Kirtan. So once Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to southern India, because in southern India the people are very pious. So the message he gave to a Kurma Brahmana across whom he came, and to the other householders who were living near to Kurma Brahmana, he said that don't give up anything. Do your material duties nicely to please Krishna. That is, whatever business we have, whatever IT related job we have, whatever banking job we have, or any government job or hospital job, any kind of job which God has given us, which Krishna has given us, that we must do very nicely. We should not give that up. And chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is the thing which we have to do. And we have to worship Krishna We have to read Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam daily, and we have to share this knowledge with others. Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. Then I will come and reside in your house, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said. So we have to chant Panchatattva mantra and chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So that's all. So yes, this 10th chapter is over. So if anybody is having any doubts, you can please ask them to us.
Prabhuji, can you just explain what is Bhagavan? I couldn't hear when you explained it.
Explain what?
What is Bhagavan?
Bhagwan, huh? So Bhagavan is, Bhaga means opulences. Opulences, which opulences? Parashara Muni, who is the father of Srila Vyasdeva, he has said, he has told the definition of Bhagavan. Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yashashasriya, Jnana, Vairagya. These 6 opulences are there. I'll tell you in English: fame, wealth, beauty, strength, knowledge, renunciation. A person who is having these qualities in full, with a maximum extent, complete extent, that is called as Bhagavan. I'll give you an example. We see many strong people in this world. Many people go to gym, they lift weights, they become bodybuilders. They are able to, they are having tremendous strength. But Krishna, on the other hand, he was able to lift Govardhana hill 5,000 years ago on his small finger. So Krishna's strength, that too for 7 days, without eating anything, without drinking anything. That is the strength. So as you can see, this is the maximum strength. Nobody can overtake Krishna. Krishna is asama urdhva. Okay, strength, then knowledge. No person is more knowledgeable than Krishna, because all the spiritual knowledge comes from Krishna himself. Fame, wealth, Aishwarya. Aishwarya means Krishna is unlimitedly opulent. So many, ornaments Krishna is having. He is Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. He is the owner of all planets. Owner of all planets and all the properties. Then fame, wealth, beauty. No person is as beautiful as Krishna. We may find some person, some boy or a girl, beautiful, but not as beautiful as Krishna. Okay, fame, wealth, beauty, strength we saw, then knowledge, then renunciation. Although Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he does not have very much attachment. He can very, renounce things or people easily. Just like Kamsa, when Kamsa ordered Akrura to get Krishna from Vrindavana, so that Krishna could kill Kamsa. Krishna, he did not say that I'll not go to Mathura and all. He went easily. Why he could do that? Because he can renounce things easily. We, on the other hand, we will think, like, if we have to go to a far distance place, then we have attachment. We may even cry to our parents. We say, I don't want to go there, etc. But not with Krishna. Then Krishna is famous all over the world. On all continents, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is being chanted. Recently, I think 1 or 2 years ago, some of the volunteer devotees, they went to Antarctica and they were doing the kirtan of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So the penguins must have heard it, I'm sure. Strength, fame, wealth, beauty, strength, knowledge, renunciation. These things are bhaga, opulences. And a person possessing these opulences is Bhagavan. Sometimes we say in Hindi, Bhagyavan. Bhagya means a person having good fortune. Bhagyavan, so person having a good fortune is one. Having a good fortune is Bhagyavan. So similarly, Bhaga, the person possessing Bhaga is Bhagavan. Okay, so the time is almost up. So the meeting can get ended at any point of time. Please relog in to ask any more questions. Did that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you, Shravan madam. Okay. Any questions are there? Any more? Any other questions?
Yes, actually, I had one confusion. Like it is one of the classes, spiritual classes, I have heard that mind is something is Shakuni, because mind and heart, when we compare to both, when